This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The American-Israeli war on Iran has been going on for more than a week. A group of Manitobans with ties to the Iranian and Jewish communities are gathering in downtown Winnipeg tonight in support of people in Iran. It's the first rally since news broke on Sunday that Ali Khamenei's son, Moshtaba Khamenei, has been named the country's new supreme leader. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel joins us live from 201 Portage Avenue outside the U.S. consulate. So, Rosanna, what's happening there?
Well, Brittany, there are several dozen demonstrators here near Portage in Maine rallying in support of the continued attacks on Iran. As you can see around me, there's lots of chants, there's lots of energy. The rally has moved just from the corner behind me more towards Portage in Maine to appeal to the drivers who are going by. Now, some of the people here, there are a mix from the Jewish community, from the Iranian community, with a shared message of support for Israel and the United States. Now, from what I've heard, there is, they've told me that they're standing together in support of the Iranian people to see an end to the Iranian regime. Now, as you might be able to see, there are flags from Iran, from the United States, from Canada. As I mentioned, there's lots of energy. There's a mix of sadness too. You might be able to see some of the pictures of the American soldiers who have died in the conflict so far. Earlier, I spoke to Mona Saidi, and she still has family in Iran, and she's been living in Winnipeg since 2020.
And they say, Trump act now, President Trump act now for the finish that dictator regime in our country. We came to the rally to be their voice for our people.
Now, Mona told me that she isn't worried about the ongoing attacks and the threat that they pose to her family in Iran. She says that the Iranian regime is more dangerous.
All right, so Rosanna, some Jewish leaders in Winnipeg say the community has been shaken after shootings at several Toronto area synagogues this week. And just this morning, another shooting at the U.S. consulate in that city. So how are people feeling about their safety here, and what's the security like there tonight?
Yeah, Brittany, I did hear some of those concerns about the shootings in Toronto. Some of those concerns are shared here tonight. But I did also hear that there is people aren't so worried about it. They don't want to be intimidated by these threats. Now, we do know that Winnipeg Police has increased its patrols at synagogues in the city and other Jewish spaces in the city. I've been told that they were expecting a police presence here tonight. I haven't seen them myself, but again, people here are not wanting to be intimidated.
All right, thank you. That's CBC's Rosanna Hempel. Well, filling up is likely draining your wallet as the price of gas soars in Winnipeg. War in the Middle East is driving up the cost of gas across the globe. And with no end to the conflict in sight, gas experts say there's a lot of uncertainty about prices moving forward. CBC's Mike Arsenault has more.
If you've been to the pumps recently, you've probably noticed a spike in gas prices. Fuel has gone up nearly 25 cents a litre in the past month, and Manitobans haven't paid this much for gas since February of last year.
John Gell was a little frustrated with the prices while he was filling up his van.
It's definitely not fun when things are going up. Everything's costing more. Wages stay stagnant and everything else is escalating.
The war in the Middle East is driving up the cost of oil and gas. 1/5 of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz, just south of Iran. The conflict has brought shipping through the strait to a halt. Luigi Fracassi says he feels stuck.
If everything goes up and down until the world figures out how to make peace, we suffer. And you need gas, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Matt McLean, a petroleum analyst at Gas Buddy, says the future of gas prices are still unknown. He says the Strait of Hormuz being closed due to war is unprecedented.
anytime you remove 20% of the world's oil supply, you're going to have a spike. And that is across the board with any commodity. I don't care if it's bananas or beef. If you remove 20% of it off the supply chain in just almost the snap of a finger, the remaining 80% is going to cost more.
McLean believes prices will continue to increase and can't predict how long they'll stay high. He hopes some recent political developments will help with stability.
France announcing potentially sending some warships to the Strait of Hormuz to help smooth things out and keep it stable for oil to finally start going through the strait again. And also the G7 energy ministers meeting to possibly do a coordinated strategic petroleum reserve.
Until then,
you can live without specialty things. Don't go out. Make a nice meal at home.
Fracassi is going to cut back on some luxuries so he can fill up his tank. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Manitobans have a more difficult time accessing medical assistance in dying, or MAID, services than anywhere else in Canada. Denial rates here outpace all other provinces by a wide margin. And as CBC's Christopher Garreau explains, it's leaving some people battling chronic illnesses, battling bureaucracy too.
Marion Penner wants to die. She was left screaming in pain after a fall in December broke her pelvis. She also suffers from chronic heart and kidney disease. Penner has been bedridden in the Steinbach Hospital, where she had her 94th birthday.
And you spend your days sitting in bed doing nothing, wondering why am I still here.
Penner applied for medical assistance in dying, or MAID. Steinbach doctor Monty Singh diagnosed her conditions and said he believed they were incurable and serious. The doctor also believed Penner adequately explored all treatment options. But she was told she's too healthy in a province where far more people are likely to be found ineligible for MAID. At 32% in 2024, Manitobans were rejected MAID over 5 times the national average. The second highest ineligible rate was 13% in Saskatchewan. Manitoba has some extra safeguards, but the law is the same across the country, leaving the reason why Manitoba's numbers are so high unclear. A spokesperson for Health Minister Uzoma Asseguara says, in smaller provinces like Manitoba, even a small one-time variation in the annual number of requests deemed ineligible can appear larger when expressed as a percentage. But it wasn't just 1 year. Shared Health says in 2025, Manitoba denials dropped to 26%, but were still over 4 times the prior year's national average. According to annual federal reports, Manitoba had fewer MAID deaths than the smaller provinces of Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick dating back to 2022. Chronic conditions like Penner's became eligible for MAID in 2021. The law says each MAID application requires 2 independent assessors. In Penner's case, she needs at least one to be an expert in the patient's illness, or consult one if needed. Another requirement? Patients need to be told specifically why their application was denied, something Penner says she never received.
Nobody spoke to you?
Not to any extent. They walked in briefly, said a few words.
Penner says the decision to deny her came within about a month. BC Dr. Stephanie Green is with the Canadian Association of MAID Assessors and Providers.
The law requires a minimum of 90 days to allow for that kind of work that needs to be done.
Penner's daughter Valerie says her mom had a full life before her fall. Now she's afraid her mom will be moved to a palliative care center far from the only community she's ever known.
Especially now being palliative, that she's going to die in the next while. It feels like the system just wants to kind of warehouse you until you do so that you don't have to really touch or affect MAID numbers.
For now, Marion lies in her hospital bed connected to bags of painkillers.
Just seems somewhat unheard.
Marion Penner says she might try to get a second opinion from one of the 20 assessors available in Manitoba. As for how she'd like to be remembered, she said she just hopes people say she tried her best. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
All right, let's bring in weather specialist Riley Lachuk. And Riley, It's almost spring, a few short weeks away, but winter's not quite done with us yet.
No, we've got one more kick at the can to go, Brittany, and we're seeing some of that push across the province through the afternoon hours here. So you can see some cloud building into the west as we've gotten throughout the afternoon. A bit of light snow tracking along a trough as this pushes eastward. I mean, as it pushes eastward and interacts with some high pressure east of us, this is really drying up by the time it really gets into the Red River Valley. But certainly up along Highway 6 through parts of the Interlake, getting some light snow even along the Trans-Canada through the afternoon hours. We've started to see some of that cloud cover filling back in over the city of Winnipeg after, you know, fairly decently sunny day today. That helped get things up to -3 in the city this afternoon. Morden, Winkler, Portage -2s at the freezing mark in Melita this afternoon, but certainly some much colder air in parts of northern Manitoba, and we'll start to see some colder conditions pushing in, particularly as we get toward the weekend. And I'll have more on that to say in the long range in a little bit here. Overnight looking at -16 in Winnipeg, a mostly clear sky. Winds stay relatively light through the night. Bit of a chillier start than seasonal first thing in the morning at -15 and -8 tomorrow afternoon. Brittany, a partly cloudy sky. Maybe a bit more snow in the forecast by the end of the week. I'll go into details when I come back.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with the latest from Manitoba's legislature, plus a lawsuit stemming from a fire last spring. A bombshell announcement in the legislature Tuesday. A progressive conservative MLA announcing he's leaving the Tory caucus and going to serve as an independent. CBC's Ian Fraze joins me live from the newsroom. So Ian, what happened?
Bob Legacy, the MLA for Dawson Trail, southeast of Winnipeg, surprising the legislature with this announcement.
It's with a bit of regret and not so much of a heavy heart anymore that I'm going to table the following documents that indicate that I intend to run as an independent and sit as an independent from this point forward. Here are the documents.
We've seen MLAs from Mark Wasiliu to Cliff Graydon getting kicked out of their parties, but here, something rare in Manitoba, an MLA voluntarily leaving their party. Legacy says he felt muzzled by the party system where he has to toe the party line. He says the CO Silica controversy was the tipping point. The Tories were fined for trying to push through the mining project after losing the 2023 election. Legacy believes the party should have turfed fellow MLA Jeff Wharton after he was found at fault.
I have a difficulty as someone who has a moral compass and someone who has ethics to sit with a party that seems to be okay with allowing a member to continue.
So Ian, it's been about 9 or 10 months since the Ethics Commissioner's review. Was there anything else more recent that happened?
Yeah, he says he butted heads recently with Tory leader Abi Khan, but he won't say why, saying his decision to step away is in the best interests of Dawson Trail residents to serve as an independent there. As for Khan, he didn't want to discuss internal issues either.
Bob and I have had a few conversations on a whole wide plethora of topics, and those are conversations between him and I as the leader and as friends, and I wish him nothing but the best.
The NDP is calling this a failure of leadership for Khan. 4 other PC MLAs have recently said they won't run for re-election.
Certainly, I think that Manitobans deserve to get some answers from the leader of the opposition as to why people are fleeing his caucus, and to see what that accountability looks like.
Khan insists these departures are not a reflection on his leadership. Legacy says he will be back running in the next election as an independent, and he won't join another party. Brittany.
And Fraze. The owner of a Transcona area industrial yard is suing the city of Winnipeg and the RM of Springfield. It's all over a fire that destroyed the property last year. The lawsuit alleges firefighters failed to properly fight the blaze, leading to major financial losses and environmental damage. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
A fire started at a Transcona area industrial yard in the afternoon of a windy day on May 12th. The cause is unknown, but it quickly spread through a property on Gun Road used to store vehicles. Firefighters from Winnipeg called in crews from the RM of Springfield for help. Now the owner of the property is suing the city and the RM. According to the lawsuit, the heat from the fire was so intense it melted hundreds of vehicles down to their metal frames. The owner of the property now claims firefighters didn't do enough to put it out. The statement of claim alleges crews focused on containing the fire around the property instead of extinguishing the vehicles that were already burning. The lawsuit also alleges the city lacked an adequate water supply in the area to fight the fire. According to the claim, firefighters had to call in additional equipment from Springfield because there wasn't enough water available nearby. The company says the fire left behind melted metal, plastics, and other toxic materials that contaminated the soil. Cleaning up that damage has already cost more than $400,000. The company says additional losses, including lost business income, could be determined if the case goes to trial. Both the company and the city of Winnipeg declined to comment. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 46-year-old man assaulted by a security guard at the downtown Dollarama is facing new charges for threatening a different guard. Winnipeg police were called early Monday to the Radisson Hotel on Portage Avenue. Officers say a man was asked to leave the entrance, pulled out a knife, and threatened a security guard. He was later arrested. Sources tell CBC this is the same man seen in a video getting beaten up by a guard at Dollarama after being accused of stealing. Investigators charged both men in that incident. He's now facing new charges of possession of a weapon and failing to comply with a probation order. He was released from custody again. Construction has started on a new kindergarten to grade 8 school in West St. Paul. The school in the Meadowlands development will have an initial capacity of 675 students, but will be designed to accommodate 800 kids. The education minister says there will be on-site childcare.
This new school also means more childcare for the community. So an integrated childcare facility will create up to 134 new childcare spaces, that is infant, preschool, and school-age spaces, so that families here in West St. Paul have access to affordable childcare right in their school community.
The school will be built using geothermal heat, and it's expected to open by September 2027. All right, Riley, back in now. And like I was saying earlier, we are still a few weeks away from spring, where we are all hopeful. But winter and Mother Nature, not done with us yet.
Not quite. We do have another round of this up and down freeze thaw to go yet, Brittany. So keep the washer fluid handy.
Yes.
You're going to need it, particularly on some of these more sunny days. I'm going to start with the cold, though. We do have an extreme cold warning in place in northwestern Manitoba. Doesn't mean places like Thompson, the Hudson Bay Coast, Gillam, Shamattawa won't be cold tonight. It just doesn't meet that threshold a little bit further south and east. But Brochet to Dooley Lake, looking at another night where wind chill values dip close to the minus 45 mark into the early morning hours. This is frostbite on exposed skin in 5 minutes or less. So the setup that we have is high pressure that's now pushed off into northwestern Ontario, weak trough pushing across the southern part of the province, which has resulted in a few flurries really anywhere west of Neepawa through the Narrows through the afternoon, and building high pressure again back to the west. So that is what's going to help push temperatures down as we get closer into the weekend here. I know it's only Tuesday, but certainly we're looking at a bit of a pattern change as we get toward the end of the week. So here's that week low. It skirts out into northwestern Ontario through the overnight hours. High pressure, clear and cold through the morning hours across northern and central parts of the province. And this is going to pull some colder air down into the south as we get through the afternoon. And that will pull temperatures, not as warm as today, but a few degrees colder than we saw today. So things remaining below seasonal as we get through the day on Wednesday. Then a couple of things happening as we get into Thursday. First, another weak low pushes across northern Manitoba, but on this trough line, there's another low pressure system that'll push just south of the border into southwestern Manitoba, likely seeing a few centimeters of snow as we get through the daytime on Thursday. More like periods of light snow or some flurries into the Red River Valley as this one pushes across later Thursday into Friday. And then high pressure builds in behind this once again, and that will really cool things down in time for the weekend. So really not expecting all that much accumulation-wise. In that southwestern corner of the province, maybe 5 centimeters max as we get through that Thursday-Friday time frame. But as we get into the day on Thursday, you'll certainly notice the winds picking up. So wind's not much of a factor as we get through the day on Wednesday, but certainly into the morning hours on Thursday, looking at winds picking up 30 gusting to 50, likely into the Red River Valley and parts of the Inner Lake. So where we do see some of that light snow, as we get through the later part of Thursday, likely seeing some visibility issues or some blowing snow through the back half of the day. So for Wednesday, temperatures, a bit cooler than today. -7s for Brandon Dauphin, -8 in Winnipeg, -13 into Thompson. A quick look at your long range. There's a bit of a warm up with that snow coming into Thursday and down to -10 by the time we get to Sunday.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Right after the break. Stay with us. The U.S. says this has been the most intense day of airstrikes on Iran since the conflict began. Iranian officials say now almost 1,300 people have been killed there. CBC's Crystal Gamansing has the latest details from Jerusalem.
Air raid alert sirens blared multiple times today right across Israel. Just before sunset, from this position, we heard 4 loud booms and saw puffs of smoke in the sky from interceptions. Similar scenes captured from multiple locations. Jeffrey Lubada, his wife, and their 2 children moved into a parkade under a shopping mall in Tel Aviv. The only way, says the Israeli Canadian, he can protect his family.
As long as the rockets are coming, and we had like 7 during the day yesterday or something, I mean, as long as the rockets are coming, this will be our base.
As American officials vowed to ramp up strikes on Iran, Israel Defense Forces says it dismantled key assets of the IRGC and its paramilitary force in Elam province, in addition to destroying missile launch sites and fighter jets.
The last 24 hours have seen Iran fire the lowest number of missiles they've been capable of firing yet.
Reduced maybe, but not eliminated. Iran's Persian Gulf neighbors also faced continued hostilities for their cooperation with the U.S. An Iranian drone strike in the UAE led to a fire in an industrial complex that includes the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. And then there's Lebanon. Israel is laying siege to what it says are locations used by the Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. More than 500 civilians have been killed, according to Lebanese officials. And today, Iran's UN ambassador said 4 of its diplomats were killed there on Sunday. Israeli and American officials say they're not seeking endless wars, but will continue to strike Iran until the regime is eliminated, along with the threat it poses. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Jerusalem.
It's not clear what the Trump administration's exact goals are to end the U.S. attacks on Iran, but the White House press secretary now says it will be up to the president alone to decide when American objectives have been met.
The operations will end when the commander-in-chief determines the military objectives have been met, fully realized, and that Iran is in a position of complete and unconditional surrender, whether they say it or not.
The White House also confirmed reports that about 140 U.S. troops have been wounded in the war with Iran so far. However, the Pentagon later said most of the injuries were minor in nature. 7 American service members have died in Iranian airstrikes on U.S. bases. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says more than 7,000 Canadians have returned from the Middle East region since the war started on February 28th.
Global Affairs has provided direct assistance to Canadians, including visa facilitation for border crossings, assistance securing accommodations and onward travel, hundreds of block-booked seats on commercial flights, several buses to reach a safe third country for onward travel, and a charter flight with more possible if demand warrants.
Ottawa says it's seeing a big drop in requests from Canadians for assistance to travel back home. It also says consular officials have been deployed to countries neighboring Iran to help any Canadians crossing the border. Well, no doubt you've noticed that big jump in prices at the pumps. The national average price of gas is now $1.64 a litre. But the gas we're buying now was purchased before the conflict in the Middle East started. So why does the price jump so fast? Peter Cowan explains.
It hasn't taken long for the price of gas here in Canada to be affected by the war in the Middle East. The price I'm paying is more than 20 cents a litre higher than it was just before the start of the conflict.
The war is definitely impacting prices here.
I don't like it, of course, but again, hopefully it changes soon.
The gasoline I'm pumping was likely refined before the start of the war. It can sometimes take weeks to get from the refinery to the tanks of your local gas station. So if the oil that was used to make this gas was bought at a lower price, why has the price gone up so much for me?
Replacement cost. It's been that way for a very, very long time.
Gas stations don't charge based on what they paid for the gas when they filled their tanks. They charge what it would cost to fill them up today. And as the price of a barrel of oil has climbed, the price of gas has risen in quick succession. For Eastern Canada, it's all based on the wholesale price in New York.
The New York Harbor price changes about 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every day. And that is then reflected the next day in the wholesale price. So it's about a 24-hour delay.
And oil prices are high because the Strait of Hormuz has been shut, blocking about 20% of the world's oil from getting to market. Iran has also targeted oil infrastructure in neighboring countries, making crude more scarce. The only good news is that what's quick to go up should also be quick to go down.
Let's not forget that typically prices are readjusted down as quickly when the spikes are when the prices are no longer high.
And that could be some good news. With the price of crude down today, experts say the price of gas could be cheaper by Thursday. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
So the price of fuel is all tied to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It's the narrow passage between Iran and Oman, where tankers pass through carrying oil from many Middle Eastern countries. The CBC's David Common explains how this affects the supply chain.
Wonder what triggered your gas to get more expensive? It may well have begun here, an attack by Iran on an oil tanker near its coast. They'd issued a warning to all ships in the region.
All navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden.
And almost all of them have stayed back. Look here, the narrow Strait of Hormuz. This is Iran. They are all trying to stay out of the line of fire. And instead, you see bunches of ships here and here, all at anchor, waiting on hold for the war to stop. That means there's less supply on the move. Less supply means higher prices. Oil extracted in North America is now more valuable exported abroad to make up for a loss of supply everywhere. That drives up the price for everyone, everywhere.
And I will not allow a terrorist regime to hold the world hostage and attempt to stop the globe's oil supply. And if Iran does anything to do that, they'll get hit at a much, much harder level.
With pump prices way up across the U.S., it is a sensitive subject for Trump, who previously vowed to lower them. Iran's regime responded to the president's threats, saying it will not allow 1 liter of oil to pass. Almost 20% of all the world's oil gets loaded somewhere here, moves through the Strait of Hormuz. And the ship's owners, they don't want to take a chance their multi-million-dollar ships get hit. That's why you're now paying more at the pump, and likely will be until more oil supply can get moving to everywhere in the world that needs it.
Recent Israeli strikes on Iranian fuel depots have shrouded Tehran at times in thick black smoke. Some of it falling back to the ground is what's being described as a black rain or an oil rain. Host of the CBC's About That, Andrew Chang, looks at what's happening and its potential danger.
If you're seeing headlines of oil rain falling in Iran, toxic oil rain, let me explain what they're talking about.
In a major escalation, oil storage depots and refining facilities in Tehran were hit.
It's an absolutely apocalyptic scene here. We've just made it to the Shahran oil depot, which was attacked last night in a massive wave of airstrikes.
It's not literal oil falling as rain so much as it is oily. Airstrikes on oil facilities have created these thick plumes of acrid black smoke.
The toxic smoke from the burning fuel depots has engulfed the capital and is drifting towards neighboring cities.
But you can see that the rain water is actually black, also saturated, it appears, with oil.
A lot of those toxins wafting into the air are the microscopic fragments of burning oil. Now, quick science lesson, when you think of how regular rain forms, it's not just pure drops of water. It's actually the water vapor in the air coalescing around particles of things, usually dust, which is weird to think of a lot of rain as actually like dust rain. Or if you're old enough to remember the acid rain scare of the 70s and 80s, it's kind of similar, where burning fossil fuels released toxic gases that mixed with the water in the air to create these acidic raindrops that ended up poisoning lakes and soil and killing fish and even dissolving parts of stone buildings. Anyway, so in Iran, you get all this water vapor in the air coalescing around not just dust, but also soot and ash and all those smoky junk particles, creating black clouds that produce black rain that, yes, is very bad for you. It's acidic too, and also something the world has experienced before during the Kuwaiti oil fires of the early 90s. Saddam Hussein setting hundreds of oil wells on fire, creating exactly the kind of black rain we're now seeing in Iran, one of the worst environmental disasters of our time. And we haven't even talked about the rain that falls through all the smoke of war, becoming dirtier, because yeah, those raindrops are like little vacuum cleaners pulling junk in as they fall to the earth. Now, if you're weird like me and you wonder if this oily rain can catch fire through whatever oily compounds are in the rain, the answer is mainly no, because even black rain is still mostly water, just dirty water, not falling fuel. But the black oily residue that gets left on the ground or on car windshields, pool enough of that together, and you do have the early makings of a catastrophe to health, to the environment. Maybe it could catch fire, I don't actually know, but bottom line, it's really dangerous stuff.
You can check out more episodes of About That with Andrew Chang, where he goes beyond the headlines and explains the major news stories. Watch on CBC Gem and the CBC News YouTube channel. Two northern Manitoba cities are diving into some new construction that's sure to cause a big splash. We'll have more on that straight ahead. Two northern Manitoba cities are pushing forward with new swimming pool complexes. In a region surrounded by thousands of lakes, these new pools aren't just for fun. They can save lives. CBC's Eric Westhaver explains.
This pool isn't quite ready for swan dives yet, but the city of Thompson hopes it will be soon. They're building the biggest pool complex in the region, with 6 lanes and state-of-the-art equipment, ready to host major meets and events. It will replace Thompson's old pool, the Norplex. Lyle Safranitz learned to swim there. He was a competitive swimmer, lifeguard, and instructor too. Now he's helping build what's next.
The pool and the continuation of the pool here will be, again, critical. We talked about low-cost recreational opportunities for youth in the region. That's big.
Flin Flon is also building a new pool. Theirs is smaller, but it will be open first, as soon as this spring. Recreation Director Caitlin Bailey says she's excited to see it develop.
It's really exciting to kind of physically stand in the building and see where everyone's going to be swimming, hopefully soon.
Both cities have been without public indoor pools for years. The Norplex closed for good in 2019. Flin Flon shut down in 2020. In the 6 years since, there's only been one open pool in the north. Pools aren't luxury items for northern communities. Most of Manitoba's 100,000 lakes are up here, and if you're going out on the lake, you better know how to swim.
Having a location where not only children, adults, newcomers can hone their skills when it comes to swimming before they're out on a boat, before they're at the beach, things like that. It's really important to be able to have access to that.
Both cities had swim teams that stopped when the pool shut down.
When the pool closed down, our competitive swimming program essentially came to an abrupt halt. Really hoping to be able to help not only grow the competitive program in Thompson, but also to eventually host provincial programs.
With safe year-round places to learn, it's hoped northern swimmers will soon be making a splash. Eric Westhaver, CBC News, Flin Flon.
The province is increasing its funding to add more spaces in the Interlake for Indigenous women and members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community to escape violence. It announced it will provide $4 million for 10 furnished studio apartments. It will be part of the Manitoba Métis Federation Transitional Housing Project. That's on top of the original 10 proposed for the site. The Infinity Women's Secretariat describes the project as a community of care.
It's not a buzz phrase for us. It's real. If you can think of a picture it like this. It's really about wrapping our loving arms around our sisters, holding space for them to stop and take a breath in a safe space.
She says people living there will have access to counseling and training. Phase 1 is expected to be completed this spring, with Phase 2 ready in the summer of 2027. Hundreds of Manitoba students traded their textbooks today for fishing rods. The Manitoba High School Ice Fishing Championship attracts hundreds of kids from across the province. The goal? To have fun, be outdoors, and learn about Manitoba's natural resources. Joining them on the ice today was CBC's Jura McElwraith.
Vanessa Hildebrand's school bag looks a little different today.
These are just like the specific ice lures that you would use for ice fishing.
She's one of hundreds of students out on the ice of Balsam Harbor for the 3rd Manitoba High School Ice Fishing Championship. Hildebrand started her day by clearing ice from one of 2,000 fishing holes drilled on Monday. The grade 9 student from Morden fishes regularly during the spring and summer, but it's her first time ice fishing. She loves spending time outdoors with her friends.
When you, let's say, catch a fish or something, it's such an exciting moment, and you get to experience it.
Organizer JJ Ross says the Derby expanded from the St. James School Division when other schools showed interest.
It's just a good opportunity to let them know what's out there. I think we have one of the greatest resources in the world here in Lake Winnipeg.
Seth Morant has fished in each provincial derby. He changes up his tackle and bait each year to try and get a bite. The grade 12 student from St. Anne likes hunting and fishing when he can.
It's nice that everybody's getting more and more involved, and I think it's pretty important to try to pass it down to the younger generations like us.
Organizers say it's unbelievable to see so many schools participating, with nearly 1,400 students from 73 schools from Thompson to Morden. And they add anyone who catches a fish will also catch a prize. Jura McElwraith, CBC News, from the ice of Balsam Harbor.
The weather update is brought to you by Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. When things go wrong, we do what's right.
Well, I love that those kids got a break. I should call them all kids. The students got a break from the classroom today.
Yeah. Weather's not bad for that either. I mean, winds may be a little bit breezy at times, particularly when you're out on the ice like that, but overall, great day for that.
But a good reminder, in some other places, like around here in Winnipeg, there are some areas where you want to stay off that ice already.
Yeah, there's some cracks on the river, for example, right now. I was just looking at the Assiniboine the other day, and there's some cracks starting to
be
form.
careful.
So, yeah, we're in that season where you really need to keep yourself aware of the ice conditions. All right, taking a look at your dog walking forecast. Let's switch gears here. And you know what? You might think to yourself, gee, that doesn't look like Manitoba, because it's not Manitoba. Casey and Jackson from Beausejour taking a little bit of a trip south into Mexico, enjoying some of the warmer conditions south of us. Thank you, David, for sending this picture in. Send yours to talkback at cbc.ca. Snow or not, we'll take them as we get through the month of March here. So things warming up to around -8 through the afternoon tomorrow. Winds north to northeast by the time we get to the afternoon. Fairly light as we get through the day tomorrow, and we might squeeze a -7 out of that by the time we get into the early evening hours. I wanted to show you a big picture of what the temperatures are doing, because this is really quite the difference here. You can kind of see how the jet stream, which I'll show you in a second, cuts across the prairies and south into the Dakotas. So we're sort of on the line of that. -3, the high in Winnipeg today. 28 degrees in Kansas City, -22 in Yellowknife. That's a difference of about 50 degrees from either end of the continent for the most part, just picking 2 points on the map. But yeah, it's all related to where the jet stream sits, just south of the border right now. And as we go through into the next week here, we'll start to actually see things shifting a little bit further south, and what that will do is allow some much colder air, and particularly by the time we get into the weekend, you're looking at some of the pinks and purples over northern Manitoba. That's temperatures -25 to -30. And all of that air rushing south as this ridge starts to form in the jet stream. And we really don't see a new air mass starting to nudge in until we get into the middle of next week, but still even into next Tuesday, things sitting slightly below seasonal for much of the province in Manitoba here. So temperatures overnight, -15 to -16 degrees across much of the west. Really similar into northwestern Ontario, -12s into Kenora and Dryden, Gimli at -17 overnight. Maybe a few flurries early this evening, and then we'll start to see things clearing up as we get through the overnight hours. And then we're looking at -31 in Thompson, -32 in Gillam, with some much cooler air to the north. Things do start to rebound a bit across northern Manitoba as we get through Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies by the time we get to the afternoon. -12 in Thompson, to the lake at -20 degrees. In southern Manitoba, temperatures -single digits again, maybe a few flurries first thing in the extreme southwestern corner of the province, Brittany. And then we're looking at temperatures by the afternoon. Some cloud starts to build in, but a mix of sun and clouds, and temperatures around -8.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
In the U.S., Live Nation, the parent company of Ticketmaster, reached a tentative deal with the Justice Department in the early days of its trial around ticket prices and competition practices. Magda Gebrselassie explains what's on the table and what might be left unsettled.
It's a giant in the live music industry accused of squashing competition and driving up ticket prices. But now, Live Nation and its company, Ticketmaster, have reached a tentative deal with the U.S. Department of Justice, less than a week into their trial without admitting doing anything wrong.
It is a surprise.
Yeah, surprise. In the proposed settlement, Live Nation says it will cap ticket service fees at 15%, end exclusive booking deals with 13 U.S. amphitheaters, make it easier for artists to use other promotional services at its venues, and more. The company also says it created a $280 million fund to pay for damages. The deal is getting mixed reviews.
If all those conditions are met, consumers would be in a better place.
A real trial would give us findings of fact. We simply have a non-event now. You have someone paying money to make the case go away.
What's not part of the deal? Separating Live Nation from Ticketmaster. That's led some states vowing to keep up the fight in their own cases. New York's Attorney General said the deal fails to address the monopoly at the center of this case. We cannot agree to it. And some question whether fans frustrated with ticket prices would see some real relief.
Are we going to see a difference?
No, I would say no. We've got to do our own homework. We have to govern the markets that we have with the tools that we have in both our interests, but also to reflect the values that we have.
Even if the judge in the U.S. signs off on the deal, it's unclear what the impact will be here. In recent months, a Canadian consumer group took an initial step to sue Live Nation and Ticketmaster with the goal of breaking up the company. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Toronto.
Still ahead, what's a centilopet and what does it have to do with skiing in costume? Well, you'll find out after this short break. Plus, Riley's back with the last check on your forecast. Stay with us.
few flurries passing through the southern Interlake into the Red River Valley, just kind of touching Winnipeg as we head into the early evening. As this pushes eastward, it kind of fizzles out, it dries up, so I'm not expecting much in the way of accumulation the further east you are. Look at your 7-day forecast now. Looking at temperatures around -8 tomorrow afternoon in Winnipeg and really right across southern Manitoba. We warm up slightly into Thursday. We get into some light snow through the later part of the day, certainly south of the Trans-Canada is where I'm looking at more of that snowfall. And then we fall from there. Overnight lows over the weekend down into the -20s. And then there is some light at the end of the tunnel for St. Patrick's Day there. Tuesday, looking at 0. And that should start a bit of a warmer trend as we get into next week. Well, skiers in Flin Flon hit the trails last weekend for a trip through the snow.
Okay, it isn't a race, it's a celebration of the outdoors and community spirit. Eric Westhaver has our daily lift.
This is not a ski race. It's a party. The Flin Flon Ski Club held its annual festival of fun and exercise, the Valadiver Hedman Centaloppet.
My favorite part of the Centaloppet is the start. Everybody's so excited and there's so much energy, jockeying for position and all that serious stuff. Yeah, I love that.
The club hosts it every year, not as a race, but to bring people together. Toddlers, seniors, even superheroes take part.
Well, it's just really fun to get out in the sun and socialize with the community.
There are prizes too, but the times aren't that important. The stiffest competition here is for best costume.
At 40, I'm not likely to win a prize unless it's a costume prize. So, you know, gotta get my wins where I can.
Family stuff. That's it. Strictly family time. We all dress up in a matching costume and we have the best time of the year.
Some of these skiers have been going for decades. Others are just starting. They're all on equal footing here, making memories together in the snow. Eric Westhaver, CBC News, Flin Flon.
I love it. And Riley, I learned a new word in this story too. A loppet is a term for a gathering of skiers.
What about the Santa part?
Okay, so
I've been thinking about that all day today.
There's apparently a whole bunch of different theories. So if you know the real one, let us know.
Please do, because that's going to haunt me tonight. What does that mean?
Right? Hope you have a wonderful night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See ya.